Welcome to the Porsche stand of the Geneva Motorshow 2018, and I have the one person that you all want to hear from, Andreas Preuninger. Thank you very much for joining us again. And
Thank you for being here.
We have behind us the GT3 RS.
So yes, we have. Isn't it beautiful?
Let's start with the exterior.
So a lot of hidden carbon fiber. So on the non-Weissach package, which we see here, lots of carbon fiber involved, but all is painted. Two differences if you compare that to the predecessor. Bigger openings here for more extracting air out of the wheel wells. It's very similar to the GT2 RS system, and a carryover from the GT2 RS as well are the air ducts. Here, the NACA ducts as we call them. A lot of people ask me, what are they good for? They're brake cooling. So there's an intersection through the body in white, so there's ducts leading all the way down to the brakes, and getting a clean, cool airstream directly on the calipers and disc rotors, and thereby reducing temperature on the brakes substantially. The overall effect is less coefficient drag, more downforce, and cooler brakes. So it's a triple win situation, and we're kind of happy with that. And I think it looks quite good.
Yeah.
So this is the difference between Gen 1 and Gen 2. We have a different front as well. It's leaning on the GT3 second generation with its air veins here, which have a little bit different form up here to ventilate the wheel wells better and to keep the airflow very, very laminar, as we call it here. And this little lip that's going up like Mick Jagger a little bit. Looks beautiful, I think we like it. And
no dive planes on the front?
The dive planes, you mean dive planes
yes,
here?
Yeah.
They're not necessary, and dive planes like we had on the RS 4-liter, for example, they help with downforce, but they are very, very bad for coefficient drag. But you have some inserts on the underbody here which we can take out, which complement the higher angle of attack of the rear spoiler that you can adjust. So it's similar to the GT4. Where we introduced that first, so there's some insert that you can take out with 2 screws. It's easily doable. In that setup, the car makes about 350 kilos of downforce, which is plenty. And you can up that if you change the angle of attack and take that thing out for the track to about 400 kilos or more, which is enough.
Brakes, you were saying before, a lot of people actually spec steel brakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of how often you track the car. So it's cost of ownership involved, as a matter of fact. A steel rotor to replace is a lot cheaper than a PCCB rotor.
And wheels, obviously on the Weissach pack, or we get the magnesium wheels are an option.
I mean, there's a Weissach pack available as well for the GT3 RS, but it's a little differently set up than on the GT2 RS. So there are 3 different versions, 3 different steps. It's not everything in whole. You can't have everything we have on the GT2 RS. That's the full version. Including the magnesium wheels, which will unfortunately be only available from end of this year on, because the demand on GT2 RS is so high that at the moment we're like about at 70% of the worldwide market of magnesium wheels, just for the GT2. I mean, this is it shows you how rare a magnesium wheel really is produced in high numbers.
Talking magnesium, the roof?
The roof is magnesium, but on the Weissach package is very lightweight carbon fiber.
Let's come down here. I don't think those were on the...
Well, this has a story.
Okay.
I mean, I wanted to have the graphics back on the car, because yes. I think the black, it just works together perfectly. The original idea was to have this RS engraved in here.
Right.
But then we thought, okay, GT3 RS here, maybe a little bit too much. And then there was this space, the surface, this big one. And our design people said, we have to do something there. And I said, okay, if you want. And that was the result of it. So it's not really functional. It doesn't. It's maybe one of the first times that we did something purely aesthetical. The part itself, it's bigger opening than before, and there's some changes to the diameters made, so there's more air coming in than on the
still get the ram air effect into there.
Big time on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I think means, because the power and torque that you quote, therefore the power certainly is actually generally higher than that.
I mean, if you compare the 2 engines, like the Gen 1 with 500 horses 4-liter and the 520 on this 4-liter, one might say, okay, that's neglectable. It isn't. If you drive it, you notice it, because the torque curve is different, the way the engine revs is different, so the whole oil sump system, the whole drive, the whole valve train, the pistons, the rings, everything is Gen 2, and it's keener, it's easier, it's more eager to rev. So it feels more than 520 horsepower, definitely.
Talking the engine, so we've obviously got slightly more power than the GT3 with this 4-litre engine.
It's got 20 horses up.
How have you liberated?
Well, it's a package. I mean, it's the intake system, it's the exhaust system, which features a titanium exhaust, which is a little bit different from the internals, and as a matter of factly, it's a motor energy management system as well, because there's so much meat in this engine. I mean, the race version of that engine without restrictor does more than 600 horses on the same displacement. So
there's more to come, potentially.
There's emission rules, there's noise rules, so we're quite happy with that. On a GT3 RS, it was never about the sheer power. What you can see is the suspension, for example. The suspension is completely different. So I mean, the way we set up the car is more like a cup car. The strategy that we chosen is stiffen up the springs by quite a lot. I mean, on the Gen 1, we had 45 millimeters per Newton per millimeter at the front. Now we got 100, that's more than double. On the back, it used to be 120s, now it's 160s. But at the same time, we lowered the rate of the stabilizer bars. They're weaker now, you know? So a little bit compensating for the ride quality, and that's more the way you set up a race car. And the damper technology on that car is on the next level as well, to be able to cope with these higher forces and to make the damper react fast enough. I would dare say after 500 meters, you notice immediately, oh, this is even more precise than the Gen 1 was. And this says something, because I think we were best in class when we're talking about precision. But this is even better. It's like when we come from a sharp knife, we're now having a scalpel, like an instrument for the doctor, you know. Like, yeah. That's how it feels, and this makes a big difference. And I think this is maybe the drivability and the comfort zone that got wider on the car will be the reason, along with the engine and the new calibration of the gearbox, for the better lap time, which will be a lot better than only 20 horsepower more would indicate. If you look at the interior, we've got perforated Alcantara, which looks nice, which feels very good. But more important for the RS aficionado, we took weight out. If you compare apple to apple, this car is about 6 kilo lighter than the predecessor. Why? Because there's more titanium on the exhaust. There's less material in the back. If you look here on the predecessor, we had this Alcantara lining thing with GT3 RS on it. This is just a lightweight carpet now. And there's less foam and less dampening material, so we took like 3.5 kilos out of the old RS into that. New calibration of the electronical diff, very important for performance as well. Going hand in hand with the stiffer springs.
Yes.
So we can lock a little bit earlier on when you exit the curve, because the car is more stable sitting on this stiff springs, and that shows on the clock. Believe it or not, and you feel it. And it adds to the precision and the comfort you have when you drive the car.
Gearbox?
Yeah, the gearbox is, we did something to the oiling system, to the bearings, and to this, we made it a little bit more efficient internally, that you have there's some less power necessary to turn everything. And but there's a lot of hardware. Along the hardware, there's some software changes as well, making it even a little bit quicker, which is hardly imaginable. And maybe you don't notice it at first. You need an atomic watch to find it. But at the end of a Nürburgring lap, it's measurable. So it's continuous improvement everywhere. That's for sure. And we forgot about the windows. This is like on a GT2 RS Gorilla Glass, so it's not anymore polycarbonate, so it's not plastic anymore.
Yeah.
It's the same weight, thin, like the plates you cover on your iPhone or a mobile phone. This is new to the automotive industry, and on that large surfaces. The good thing is for the American customers, it's available in the US too, because back then on a Gen 1, we couldn't supply the plastic windows for the US for some legal reasons. The rims are new as well. If you look closely, look at this here. There's GT3 RS engraved here. So this surface is a new. We wanted to keep the overall look of the wheel because we like it so much, but all the outer rim is new and a little bit lighter as well. Couple 100 grams for the car, but it was more optical reasons. And by the way, I love this pinstripe.
I know you like the pinstripe. It's
Always. Here you can see the obvious lightweight measures that we did on the RS. So there's not this folding thing, which is kind of heavy. It's a netting, and the carpentry is cut out underneath the seats to save some weight. It's only 100 grams on each side, but I mean, we keep counting.
Yes.
On the back end side is a lot. I think it's more than meets the eye. More than meets the eye. It's not just another makeover of the GT3 RS as it was, and I think we'll prove that point home when we do the lap time, and then you can see how the package works. And but that's a proof that we have to do. We will, and I don't think we will disappoint.
I'm sure it won't. Andreas, thank you very, very much.
A pleasure as always.
It's
a pleasure as always.
Proves as always that there is more than meets the eye in this
car.
Yeah,
I mean that's definitely true.
It's fascinating to talk to you as always. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Have
a great time.